afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, the Engineer Ahmed Aswayam, Governor of the Digital Government Authorities, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me and my colleague to join you here in Riyadh at this second edition of the Digital Government Forum. This forum's focus on digital transformation and the impact of achieving 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is very timely. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has many good practices to share. Your Vision 2030 has guided the remarkable progress in sustainable development and the thriving economy. This success underscores your leadership role and the growing contribution to global solidarity, prosperity, and digital cooperation. With just 7 years left to 2030, more than ever, we need a fundamental shift in our approach, which will drive the progress across all 17 goals. Digital transformation has enormous potential to accelerate this shift in a way that will inspire and motivate our efforts. Digital technologies have transformed people's lives in fundamental ways, driving the rate and shape of economic growth, social progress, and sustainability. The digital landscape is rapidly widening and deepening its reach. In just 2 decades, the number of the people enjoying access to internet has quintupled to the 5.3 billion. Powered by the artificial intelligence and other technologies, digital jobs and e-commerce are growing, even during the crisis. In the public sector, including here in Saudi Arabia and across the globe, governments are integrated AI into diverse sectors, such as infrastructure, environment, security, public services, and research. In fact, digital government is a fundamental pillar of the future government. There is no longer a clear distinction or separation between the physical government and the digital government. Recent crises like the COVID-19 pandemic have compelled governments to rethink the role of digitalization and deliver the more innovative digital solutions with agility and resilience. The virtual court and the virtual hospitals of the Riyadh are the best prime examples. But dear colleagues, in embracing digital government, there are some key areas that we must address to ensure effective application of digitalization. Please allow me to reflect on 3 of these. First, we need to build a resilient and inclusive digital economy. Today, the digital economy makes up more than 15% of the global GDP and has grown to 2.5 times faster over the previous 10 years than the GDP of the physical world. Beyond the need to address the current vicious cycle of the weak investment, slow growth, and the rising debt servicing burdens, which many countries are trapped, a targeted focus on developing digital economic capacity is needed more than ever. Improving the research and the resilience of digital economies is possible with the better mobilization of the technologies, data and science, applying the strategic foresight and the system thinking, and enhancing digital literacy for all. Collectively, we also need better safeguards that reduce the risk of operating in a digital space. Both the public and the private sectors need to be better prepared and be more resilient to shocks and crises. Second, we need to future-proof the digital government. Digital government is a means at its end and not an end in itself. We need to continue to rethink, reform, and redesign the digital government for it to fit for the purpose. Effective digital government must continue to empower the public institutions to deliver the quality public services and to respond to the need of the people, especially the most vulnerable groups, even more so in the times of the crisis. Policy process and service delivery, when re-engineered digitally, must strive for a balance to be effective, inclusive, transparent, and accountable. For instance, the promise of the AI for seamless data-centric services should not be at the expense of the personal privacy and bias. Such an approach requires the whole of the government and the whole of the society engagement. It means advancing effective collaboration across the government departments and the levels of the department, and working with the tech industry and the think tanks. It requires the ensuring the transparency, accountability around the crisis response and beyond, and fighting corruption. Third is the need to bridge the digital divide that exists both within and across the country context. Advancement in digitalization usually benefits those groups that have easiest access, those with higher incomes, for example, while many of the poorest and the most vulnerable are being left behind. Globally, in 2022, 62% of the men were using the internet, compared with 57% of women. In the lower income countries, only 21% of the women use the internet. Governments need to work harder to bridge all forms of digital device, including the deployment of the critical infrastructure and the development of digital competencies and skills among the vulnerable communities. Digital literacy and inclusive design must receive more attention in the design and approach of the digital government. Government must shift from digital by default to the inclusive by default to include those who need the services most. Excellencies, distinguished participants, dear colleagues, advancing digital cooperation is critical for advancing sustainable development. Digitalization now is woven into the fabric of a society and established itself as a potential driver of sustainable development. But several challenges remain, including the lack of capacities, capabilities, and resources, especially among the developing countries, the middle-income countries, and the countries in special situations. To overcome these hurdles, we need to strengthen the global digital cooperation. In this connection, I look forward to the outcomes of the Digital Government Forum and encourage all of you as leaders and champions to take the bold decision in shaping the future of the digital government that reflect the priorities of the people living around the world, leaving no one behind. Your voice, your leadership will be an important contribution in the lead up to the Global Digital Compact and the Pact for the Future to be agreed at the United Nations Summit for the Future next September. I thank you very much.